Guys, what's going on? I wanted to come back to you and I wanted to bring you an update on what's going on right now in New York City concerning the migrant crisis. What's going on? Again, these people have been given 4 and 5-star hotels for the most part since they gotten here. Again, they're being given phones, they're being given money, they're being given food, they're given the public education for the kids. But we have to understand that we have to draw the line somewhere. I mean, at some point, we're not going to be able to put them up in hotels, these 4 and 5-star hotels. We can't do it. We literally can't do it. And that's what's happening. They're running out of room in New York City, and they're having to house them at these tent facilities. And, the illegals, they don't like that. They don't like to be housed there. They want to be housed in 4 and 5-star hotels. And they're pretty upset about this. Again, you're coming into this country. You're being asked to, for food, for water, for shelter, because things are so bad where you came from. And you don't like it. You refuse it when it's given to you. I mean, guys, we have got to understand that number one, we got to close the southern border down. We do. And, if we allow certain people over here because they're seeking asylum from wherever they came from, and, they refuse the places that we have for them to live, and, they say it's not good enough, then guess what? They can go back.
Some with children arrived by bus at the massive shelter at Floyd Bennett Field in Brooklyn earlier today, but most of those families didn't like what they saw and refused to stay there. Eyewitness News reporter Sonia Rincon has more from Floyd Bennett Field in Marine Park.
Disappointment and frustration as migrant families turned around after arriving at the Floyd Bennett Field shelter, dragging luggage and getting back on buses, some saying no one told them they were coming here. Others, like this mom, saying it was just too far from the schools where their kids have been going in Manhattan and the Bronx. I'm grateful for what they've given me, she says, but I can't stay here.
Conditions.
Late tonight, the mayor paid a visit, posting a video to social media.
And you cannot say any better that we need help.
Most of the families arriving on buses this afternoon chose not to stay, but the city says this is all it's got right now, and refusing it means foregoing any shelter from New York City.
We're at Floyd Bennett Field. To be clear, there were several families who got off an MTA bus, walked inside a facility, and they are currently there tonight. But there were other parents who got off, took a look around, and decided this was not the place for them. They in turn boarded another bus and were dropped off at a train station, effectively relinquishing their stay in the shelter system. A migrant mother saying, quote, it's too far for them to get to their studies. They go to school on 59th Street in Manhattan. One of several migrant families who arrived Sunday at the Floyd Bennett Field tent facility in Brooklyn, unwilling to stay here. I am very grateful for everything that they've given us, she says, but we can't stay here. I have 4 kids with asthma. It's too far. They didn't tell us anything. It's a new facility, but we never thought it was here. Governor Kathy Hochul and Mayor Eric Adams confirmed late last month families would indeed be transferred here to live temporarily in a congregate setting. MTA buses with the first 24 or so migrant families began arriving at the gate just after noon on Sunday. A mayoral spokesperson telling Pix 11 News, quote, with more than 65,600 migrants still currently in our care and thousands more continuing to arrive every week, we have used every possible corner of New York City and are quite simply out of good options to shelter migrants. The spokesperson goes on to say, quote, no municipality should be left to manage a national crisis almost entirely on its own. It's not fair to asylum seekers, and it's not fair to longtime New Yorkers.
Oh, this poor lady, man. Her kids are being educated on the taxpayer dime. And, she doesn't want to have to go so far to take her kids to school. She can't take them from Brooklyn to Manhattan. And I get that. I understand that. But have them educated in Brooklyn. I mean, that's a novel idea. I mean, we have to understand just how much real estate costs. in Manhattan. My brother lived there like 20 years ago. Man, I think he paid $1,400 a month for one room, one tiny little room with the bed up on the wall. And underneath the bed, he had a dresser and a microwave on top of the dresser. But that's it. And like 2 steps away from that was the door. And he had to share a bathroom with like 5 or 6 other, rooms. I mean, guys, we have truly got to understand. That was 20 years ago. And that was $1,400 a month. So I have no idea what they would be now. But, guys, we have truly got to understand. These people have been spoiled. They have been spoiled rotten. I mean, we give them 4 and 5 star hotels to stay in. And now they're being told, hey, we're renting out a room. And we are. We're renting out a room in this country. And you're going to have to stay in a tent city on an airstrip. And they don't want to. They're like, nope, no, we don't want to. And I'm going to show you guys, man, I'm going to read something to you in a minute. Showing you that, some of these migrants are electing to go back home. But guys, watch this. I'm going to read you guys an article from Fox News. Chicago migrants return to Venezuela ahead of winter. There's nothing for us here. The Illinois city has seen more than 19,000 migrants since August of 2022. Let me scroll down here for you. Chicago migrants are beginning to move back to Venezuela as the city runs out of resources to house and support illegal immigrants. The Chicago Tribune reported on the account of Michael Caston, who migrated with his wife and stepdaughter from Venezuela to find a better life. However, after several months, the family suffered from homelessness, a lack of job opportunities, and no access to better education. By early November, they had requested tickets back to their home country. The American dream doesn't exist anymore. There's nothing for us. There's nothing here for us. The report suggested that Gaston was not the only migrant who felt that way. As the city grows colder, many are requesting tickets to other cities or even other countries to avoid sleeping on the streets during winter. Let me scroll down for you here. Okay, it says, how many more months of living in the streets will it take? No more. It's better that I leave. At least have my mother, Gaston said. Some migrants suggested that they have been misled to believe that they could be granted asylum immediately and perhaps receive a work permit. Others acknowledge that the sheer number of illegal immigrants overwhelming the city has likely depleted resources. We didn't know things would be this hard, Gaston said. I thought the process would be faster. City officials reported that Chicago had received more than 19,000 migrants since August 2022. In addition, over 68,000 Chicago citizens are experiencing homelessness. As the migrant crisis grew, local leaders have begun debating Chicago's status as a sanctuary city for migrants. Guys, we have to really recognize what's going on. I mean, again, either things are not that bad in Venezuela or things are really degraded here in the States to where they want to go back. They want to go back to Venezuela because things are better off. They're better off, back home. Like I said, man, we got to understand. I think it's kind of a combination of the both of the two. That, things, number one, I think are pretty bad in Venezuela, but things are really getting bad here. I think a lot of the illegals, man, they understand that. They understand things are happening here. Things aren't good. They're coming into New York and Chicago and everywhere else. And, they don't have opportunities. They don't have places, they were staying in hotels, nice hotels. but now they're not. And they want back. They're like, well, if you're not going to put us up in the embassy suites or whatever, then we don't want to be here. We want to go back to Venezuela. And that's basically what the guy said. He had no opportunities, no job opportunities, no nothing. So we have to recognize, man, that, things are degrading in this country quickly. We're kind of seeing ourselves in a perfect storm, so to speak, of problems that are happening now. With the looting and burning set down and rioting and everything else that's going on. And we're not wanting to prosecute people for breaking the law, for assaulting people, for doing whatever. And, and these immigrants, they understand that. They see, hey, look, they don't have the opportunities we were told they'd have. And, they're not prosecuting criminals. People are running around the streets doing whatever they want to do. We don't want to be here. I'm not saying everyone, but the ones that are actually coming here for a better life, they understand that, things aren't that good here and they want to go back. And that really kind of speaks volumes about this country if anybody is willing to pay attention, that they're willing to go back. And, like I said, man, I think it's a perfect storm of all these different things that are coming together, the racial crisis, they not real, it's a fake racial crisis, but, they're fanning the flames of division big time in this country. They're not prosecuting criminals. They're allowing things to happen. They're letting everyone come in to the country. And this country is falling apart because of it. And again, people that are my age or older, even younger than me, they look back and they're like, oh my God, man, things are so much worse than they were, 30, 40 years ago. I mean, 10, 20 years ago, they're much worse. But 30, 40 years ago, definitely. When I was younger, man, back, 30 years ago, whatever, I mean, things weren't even close to what they are now. I mean, I couldn't even imagine things being quite this way, back in 1993. I mean, no, there's no way. I was in high school then, but there's no way that I could have thought this country would be this bad 30 years later. No way. But, it is. And I think people are recognizing what's happening not only here, but in Europe as well. And again, people, they're starting to realize that. And the people that aren't are the ones that are, kind of bad news. And you don't want them in this country to begin with. Because again, they're going to cause trouble. But anyways, guys, if you would, please like, subscribe, and leave a comment down below. Thanks.
You son of a